Okay, as we start the parabola homework, we first need to determine, whenever we're graphing it, which direction it's going to go. So, notice that we don't have to graph it, but it comes in handy, and we have to find lots of things. Vertex, focus, directrix, focal width. Focal width is one of the easier things to find. So let's get started by determining the direction it goes. I'm going to go, by the way, I'm going to go through the odd problems on the homework, but I'm not going to finish all of them. I'm just going to kind of give you a push on a few of them, complete a few of them, but it's just going to give you the direction that you need to go on some of them. So y is equal to, well, let's stop right there. Y is a vertical thing. So I know it either goes up or down. Well, it is a negative leading coefficient, therefore it is going to go down. That's what I know. This thing is going to go down. The focus is going to be below the vertex. The directrix will be above it. We'll visualize it in just a second. Let's find the vertex. With the x is a -3, therefore the vertex has an x value of -3, and for what it matters, there is a +0 out here that you know is there and I know is there. It's just understood. There we go, -3, 0. We're going to go ahead and plot that point. I'm going to do it in pencil just in case I mess up. 1, 2, 3, there we go. There is our vertex, and it is correct. Our focus is going to be below that. So let's go ahead and draw our parabola. Again, it opens downward, so it's going to go down like that or something. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It looks pretty bad. It's probably one of the worst parabolas I've ever drawn in my life. Alright, so our focus is going to be not 6, but 1.5 units down from that. Where'd the 1.5 come from? Well, I'm glad you asked. So if the absolute value of A is equal to 1/4c, and we know that A is -1/6, then we have 1/6 equals 1/4c. Why isn't it negative? Absolute value took care of that. We cross multiply. 6 equals 4c. We divide by 4 on both sides, and 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. That tells me what c is, which tells me how far away from the vertex I am for the focus and the directrix. I'm going to go down 1.5. For the focus, I'm going to go up 1.5 for the directrix, and whether or not I go up or down or left or right depends on the direction that the whole parabola opens in the first place. So, the focus is relatively easy to find. The vertex and focus are aligned vertically, which means they have the same x value, -3, see, -3 comma that, and that is down 1.5 from 0. From the x-axis. The directrix is a line, horizontal line. Horizontal lines cross the y-axis, and this one crosses the y-axis at 1.5. Okay, focal width is always equal to 4c, and that's going to be the easy part. So we go 4 times 1.5. 4 times 1.5 is 6. Yes, it's the reciprocal of that made positive. Focal width is 6. Okay, there's number 1. Very quickly, let's move to number 3. About said number 2. We're going to do the odd ones. So, number 3. We have an x equals. Okay, x runs side to side, just like the x-axis. Because it is positive, it opens to the right. About wrote that in pencil, not that it matters, but it's going to open to the right, which means it's going to do this. There's going to be a focus on the inside of it and a directrix on the other side. So, keep in mind there's a 1 right there. Let's figure out the vertex. The vertex has a, let's look, a y value of -3. Inside the parentheses is a y and a 3. Because it's 3, we're going to do the opposite inside the parentheses. So it's going to have a y value of -3, and on the opposite side of the equation there's an x and a -1. So x is -1. We will obey the sign when we're outside the parentheses. So the vertex is at -1, -3. -1, oops, I about graphed the wrong thing. That's why I'm doing this in pencil. -1, -3. Okay, what's the focus? I don't know, but I do know it opens to the right. And we are going to figure out what the focus is. Well, again, absolute value of A is equal to 1 over 4C, and A is 1. We'll make it positive. Oh, it's already positive, so we go 1 equals 1 over 4C. Don't sweat it. Cross multiply. Put it over 1. Cross multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 4C is 4C. We divide by 4. And C equals 1/4. Whoa, what in the world does that mean? That means this. It means it's going to be very hard to draw. Very hard to draw. I'd zoom it in, but it would still be hard to visualize. So we are going to go 1/4 to the right for our focus. Now I know it looks like I did it about at 1/2, but I can't do it perfectly, and you probably can't either. No offense. Our directrix is 1/4 in this direction. Okay, it's very tight right there. Okay, so here goes. What is our focus? I do not know. I'm going to go ahead and put down what I do know. I know my focus is along this line right here. -1, -3 is not my focus. That's my vertex. But my focus has a y value of -3 because it goes down. So, -3. What is the x value? I don't know, but here's what I do know. And this can happen in your head, of course, but I'm just letting you visualize it on a calculator. Here's what I do know. I had a vertex at -1, talking about the x value, and I went to the right, so I'm going to add 1/4. So it's -0.75. I'm going to call it -3/4 just because I feel like using a fraction. You can use whichever one you want. -3/4. Mr. Reader, I can do that in my head. I hope you can. I just wanted you to visualize it. The directrix is a vertical line. Vertical lines cross the x-axis. Where does it cross the x-axis? You know what I'm about to type, and you can do it in your head. But we were, looking at the x value, we were at -1, and we went back 1/4, and it gave us that. -1 1/4. You can call it -1.25. You can call it -5/4. Call it whichever one you want. Decimals might be more practical. Focal width. Well, the focal width is going to be the reciprocal of that. Here's why. The focal width is always 4 times c. c is 1/4. 4 times 1/4 is 1. So the focal width is 1. Real quick, let me remind you what focal width means. If I drew this right here through the focus and connected either side of the parabola, that width is a distance of 1. Clearly I didn't draw it correctly. Same thing here. And this one's actually drawn relatively well. If I connected those, that's my focal width. It should be 6. This looks kind of like 6. So that one's drawn a little bit more accurately. So that entire width would be 6. Okay, very quickly we're going to move on to number 5. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do part of it. So here goes. We're going to write the equation of the parabola in vertex form that has a vertex at the origin. Stop right there and start drawing. You don't have to draw it, but it helps. Opens to the left. Okay. Alright, let's take it one little piece at a time. Don't read too much too fast. Sometimes people get overwhelmed when they are reading this and they say, oh, it does this, it does this, it does this. Ah, I'm overwhelmed. Don't worry about it. Do a little piece at a time. Vertex form, vertex of the origin, opens to the left. I'm going to doodle just a little bit here in pencil. Because it opens to the left, it's x equals something. And the formula for that is this. There we go. Same thing as the y equals ax minus h squared plus k, only we've swapped x and y, so we swapped h and k. Okay? Because we know that it is at the origin, this is 0 and this is 0. And because we know it opens to the left, we know a is negative. I'm going to go ahead and start writing my answer. x equals negative something, I don't know what. I'm going to leave a little space here for my a, x squared. Don't need an h, don't need a k. All right, I need something there though. All right, the directrix and focus are 4 units apart. They're 4 units apart, which means the distance is going to be hard to visualize. You got to look really closely at where I'm pointing. The distance from the focus to the directrix is 4, and I'm pointing at it accurately. Here's the focus, here's the line of the directrix. And if they are 4 units apart and it splits that 4 in half, I think it's very obvious at this point. There we go. There we go. We see it? Okay. Here's the deal. From there, I can find my focus. I'm not going to give you that answer. I believe you can find that. I can find the directrix, and as soon as you know A, you can find the focal width. I'm going to go just a little bit further. Here's the thing that I need. I'm going to erase this because it's in my way. I'm just going to erase that part right there. Here's what I need right here. I'm going to write it in pencil. The absolute value of A is equal to 1 over 4C. I am looking to find out what A is. Well, I know A is negative, so I'm going to ignore the absolute value. I have the sign determined already. So I know that A is 1 over 4 times C. What is C? C is clearly that right there. That is 2 because the directrix and focus were 4 units apart and it split it in half. So 4 times 2, that is 1/8. Now, I did just lie to you. A is not this. It's actually negative that. Negative 1/8. Therefore, that is this answer. The rest of that is up to you. Here goes, number 7. Moving right along. Write the equation of a parabola in vertex form that has a vertex at 2, 6. Stop right there and draw it if you need to. 2, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got to the very end and all the lines ran together. Hold on here. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The light was a little bright. Yeah, I'll blame it on the light. It has a focus at 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up the same amount. Okay, if this is the vertex, we'll call it V, and this is the focus, we'll call it F, which direction does this thing open? Well, it ain't up and down, I tell you that. It's not going to be up and down. Instead, actually, it's going to open to the right. Because it opens to the right, we're going to use this formula right here. Okay, I'm going to write it again just because it comes in handy. Y minus k squared plus h. All right. And I'm going to start filling some stuff in. I know the vertex is at 2, 6. That's a 2. That's a 6. It opens to the right, so A is positive. I'm going to go ahead and start filling in my answer. The equation is x equals something, don't know what. Y minus 6 squared plus 2. Looking for my A value. All right. How far apart are those? Really? You find it, you see it, you know what it is. Because you know what it is, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, for real, not going to tell you, then all you have to do now is do this. A is 1 over 4C, and you know what C is. You see it right here. You plug it in, you know that. As soon as you know that, you know your focal width. Also, your directrix is the same distance back. There it is. I'm not giving you that equation, but you know what axis you cross and you know where you cross it. Okay? That's number 7. We're going to start number 9 and not finish it. Here goes. Write the equation of the parabola in vertex form that has the vertex at 2, negative 2, and a directrix of x equals 3. All right. There's your directrix, there's your vertex. So, x equals a y minus k squared plus h. I'm going to do even less on this one. Okay, they gave you the vertex, you can plug that right in. They also implied which direction it opens, because this is your directrix and this is your vertex, not your focus. You know which direction it opens. You already also know what your C value is. You know a lot of stuff about this one. This one's ready to go. I believe you can figure it out on your own and you can finish it.